balewa for me, I will see you. Okoke for me, you a I get money, my business, oh. They try let did you watch your enemies? They won't see me in poto, Gill and Chenley will kill me, soko. They just want me to die, bolala. Oh, did you watch your enemies? They won't see me in poto, Gill and Chenley will kill me, soko. They just want me to die, bolala. I'm blessing rap, yale plenty, popular sardine, plenty like cartoon, where Jalona. Yes, in the heart, they boss in the medulla. Because my time, can't you hold me with you? With a line, Kaleo. They want to hear worry. Become a labor only one school and carry. They won't eat me on Lelo. My kiddo only on off you. And I'm fighting no ballet for me, I will see you. Okoke for me, you a I get money, my business. They try let did you watch your enemies? They won't see me in poto, Gill and Chenley will kill me, soko. They just want me to die, bolala. Oh, did you watch your enemies? They won't see me in poto, Gill and Chenley will kill me, soko. They just want me to die, bolala. I'm blessing rap, yale plenty, popular sardine, plenty like cartoon, where Jalona. Yes, in the heart, they boss in the medulla.
You share the show out there. Share the show today. We got on here with us one of the greatest woman.
They won't eat me on Lelo. My kiddo only on off you.
Our special guest tonight.
And I'm fighting no ballet for me, I will see you. Okoke for me, you a I get money, my business.
So please share the show.
They try let you watch your enemies. They want see me in poto, Gill and Chenley will kill me, soko. They just want me to die, bolala. Oh, if you watch your enemies, they won't see me in poto, Gill and Chenley will kill me, soko. They just want me to die, bolala. I'm blessing rap, yale plenty, popular sardine, plenty like cartoon, where Jalona. Yes, in the heart, they boss in the medulla.
From Grand
Because my time, can't you hold me with you?
You've been joining us from
the line, Kaleo. They want to hear
what on to introduce
because my labor only one
then we go into our conversation.
They won't eat me on Lelo. My kiddo only on off you. And I'm fighting no ballet for me, I will see you.
Tonight,
for me, you
on the Free Double Show, please share the show
my business.
Other people to
they try let did you watch your enemies? They won't see me in poto, Gill and Chenley will kill me, soko.
Let me slow this music down. She been in the back for now 5-6 minutes, and she gonna come out here today. And if she agrees, we're gonna open the line after our interaction about 30 minutes. Then you can call in and say, I think she's just coming tonight to appreciate those that stood with them. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Iron Lady of our time is joining us from all the way London. So, ladies and gentlemen, please share the show here tonight on the Print Double Show. Share it to other platforms. Share it to other people in our community so they can see and listen in on this great conversation with Mamie Veronica. The French will say Veronique. Veronica Mamie Do. How you doing, man?
Good. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. So we're happy also to have you on here to accept our invitation to come on and use our platform to speak to your people, Liberians and other nationals of the world. So I will give you time, Mamie, to at least talk to us.
Okay.
People,
so you told me to
introduce yourself for the protocol here. You have to introduce it. Even seeing the name, people know you, but you still have to.
Of course. So my name is Veronica Mamie Do, the first child of former President Samuel Doe and Mrs. Nancy B. Doe, former First Lady, one of 4 legitimate children. And so I'm just here to really express our gratitude for all that you guys have stood with us. You guys have supported us in prayers, financially, otherwise online. You guys have really, really been our strong soldiers. You've stood with us because, I mean, although I was in the midst of it, also the drama was just unfolding. I couldn't have even imagined all the different challenges that came our way. But yet, you guys never gave up on us. We felt fully supported, and we really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So how everything?
I'm
You're back
tired.
home. You're back
Yeah,
in England
yeah,
now.
yes. I'm exhausted. I'm relieved. I'm happy. I just can't believe what just happened. I'm so grateful to God, first and foremost, because without Him, it would have been possible. You know, you pray for something for so long, and then it finally happens. And also, yeah, so that's the reason we're here. So when we got back from I left Swedru on Friday,
Oh, on the same
after the burial.
on the same day.
Yes, I left on the same day. I had to leave on the same day. So we wrote our gratitude letters to all the ministries and everyone, but still we wouldn't be able to have reached everyone. So, the same way I came on the platform, well, not this
Mhm.
platform, but on online,
Yeah,
to really ask for help and support and say, these are the challenges that we are going through. We would like your support. And they really stood with us and really, really supported us. It was overwhelming.
that's good. So how was the process? You went back home. You we saw the video. You guys were at the pavilion. Is that same day
Yeah.
you guys left for Grand Gedeh?
Yeah. So actually, I just remember something. One of the key people that we really, really need to thank, because it was a reburial of our father's remains, which was recovered. I would really be remiss not to include the people of Caldwell, the family, that really, really, um, when they received his body, they came together, they had a little memorial, and they dug 6 feet, which is what they told us. And they sat him down in the grave, which at that time, I heard this about 25 years ago.
You know
And I
what?
couldn't quite,
We're gonna. It's I got it's here. We're gonna go into that. That was just
yeah.
introduction. We're gonna go
Okay,
into
so I
that
just want
because
to tell him thank you. Yes, you're right. We can go into that later, but I just
yeah,
really
this
want to tell him thank
speculation.
you.
Yeah, we're gonna get to it. This speculation that
Okay,
from Prince Johnson, then from what I'm hearing from you and the other family members. So I mean, the people want to know. The world need to know too what's actually happening. Who's not telling the
okay,
truth here? Who's telling the truth? So you,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So okay. So, but the government,
Okay.
how boycott? What President boycott did?
You know what? He was exceptional because on the day that he came to sympathize with me on the mat, he literally said, "We're here for you. Anything you need." That's when I asked for both burial because the government had already scheduled my father's reburial for that weekend of the 26th, 27th, 28th, one of those dates. So we selected the 27th as opposed to the Saturday, which was the 28th. And he said, yeah, sure, you can have both of them together. We don't see any problem. He was there with his Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mrs. Yanti, Sarah Yanti, which I actually have to say thank you. She was amazing. She's really kind, very sympathetic and empathetic. And she and her staff, the protocol team, they worked because we had 3 weeks to plan all this. Because prior to me coming, nothing had been done. So my mother's death was the catalyst. So I just want to say thank you to her and her team. They were amazing. But in terms of President Barca, he was so accommodating. He helped us with everything. He pretty much offered us whatever help we needed. He gave us a really good budget, of course, which was 80% of our total budget that we needed because once you have a state burial, the services are state prices. And also, we're talking about two people coming
Yeah.
together. And so, of course, you have to, the whole thing that entails. And it was a lot of people on the mat for about a month, a lot of traveling, a lot of things that we needed to get done. We had to build a mausoleum for two, not just for one. So it was extremely expensive, but his kindness and his budget covered at least 80%, for which we are very, very grateful.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So the government was aimed for you and
Yes.
for your
Yes.
family. Yeah.
Yeah. From day one, as soon as my mother passed away, I was just liaising with the president's office directly. So
Oh,
that's when things really moved at a great pace. So we had about 3 weeks to pull everything together. And of course, we had to send for so many kids It's about 10 of us that we paid, which was included. Yeah.
Uh, I'll just straighten up my camera over here. So tell us, that money I saw the wake and all that stuff on a Tuesday night, and then it
Mm-hmm.
was a Wednesday that you guys went to the pavilion.
Uh, okay, you mean the book of condolences?
Yeah, yes, you
Is
left
that Tuesday?
it was on
Yes.
Tuesday, but y'all went
Yeah.
back to the pavilion on Wednesday.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Then that same
So,
day you started going to you started the trip to Grand Gedeh.
so what had unfolded was, so Tuesday, the 24th of June, that was the day of the book of condolence. So after we went home from then, we received a call from the president's office around 5 p.m. And one of his staff had called me, and I spoke to him directly. And actually, because on that day when he greeted us, he said he wanted to speak to us. So I was just assuming all of us, including me and my siblings.
At the
And
pavilion.
so, yes, he said he wanted to speak to us.
Yeah.
So when he called, I just assumed. I said, "Oh, can I let my siblings know because I had left early because I had a headache, and so I needed to call some of them to say, hey, guys, the president wants to see us." So he said, "No, I just really want to speak to the same team that he had spoken to before, which was really me and Uncle Isaac." So we went there, and we discussed some things. And initially, there was just some discussions about the place of burial. He wasn't keen on burying the president in a private property. He told us whether it was possible to find a public burial ground. And we cited reasons why that wouldn't work. First of all, there was no presidential burial site. And we didn't think it would be really good or conducive for us to put our parents in a public area. Mind you, we had waited so long to recover our father's remains. We always knew where it was. It wasn't the right timing. So I was very cognizant of that. And so also Uncle Isaac showed him on the phone all the progress we had made. The mausoleum was, it was being developed, and we had made great progress. And there was so much work and money that had gone into that. So he did that, and also he was with an advisor, and they were thinking whether there was any precedence with burying the president with his wife, what they had done before, whether there was a precedent to that one.
Where did
And
that meeting take place? Where?
it took place on Tuesday, the day of
At
the
his
Book of
house?
Condolence. Yes, yes. So it was after the event during the day.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were just having those conversations, and also he broached the topic about reconciling with Zoe Penu. Of course, I understand his concerns. He said that in any cases he would want families to reconcile together, which I could understand where he was coming from. But then again, I took my stand, which is, the same thing I always say. Zoe is responsible for the death of my mother. He has systematically oppressed us whilst benefiting from us at the same time. And so I will not even entertain him. But for the sake of peace, I might just speak to him after the burial, only on the condition that he brings my father's documents. So that was how it was left. Those three things were raised.
What the president told you? You're gonna just talk to him or what?
No, yeah, he was just broaching the topic very gently about Zoe and speaking to him. And I just said I wasn't willing to speak to him until afterwards and with my father's documents in tow as well. So we left it at that, and we left. And then I was concerned immediately following that meeting, but Uncle Isaac wasn't. He said, no, it's okay. And I said, I just felt that Zoe was up to no good again. I felt that he was planning something in the background. The reason I was saying that was because prior to my previous meeting with the president, I had told him all the things that Zoe had done. And there wasn't any discussion about reconciliation then. My impression was that is family stuff. I'm not really going to get into it, which I was happy because I was looking for people not to get involved because I knew my position and I knew I wouldn't change my position. So I didn't want an opportunity to turn down people. Does it make sense to you? I didn't
Yeah.
want an opportunity where I have to say no again because I had been saying no on that topic. And I was just wishing that I would just bury my mother because we just needed to do it. and I didn't want us to get sidetracked or not focus on the task at hand, which was the reburial and the burial of our parents.
Okay.
Excuse me. So I was a bit perturbed by that. And so Uncle Isaac said, let's have a meeting. So we called, Prophet Zoll, we called Representative Soken, and us, so it was four of us, who was sitting there at some cafe, just having a discussion about what to do, about my concerns. And they were trying to tell me that I was overthinking things and there was no concern. Because in my head, I always have to have a plan A, B, C, especially when Zoe is at play. But within 30 minutes of that meeting, I had another call, and that call was, from someone in his office who I really like as well. And so he wanted us to have another meeting. He wanted us to come back to the president's office. And actually, at that time, I said to him, I said, I'm really reluctant to attend. But he says, oh, but you can't reject the president's, request. And I said, of course not, I can't do that. But my question is, whoever I was speaking to, I said, please, can you confirm whether Zoe is going to be in attendance? Because I feel he's responsible for my mother's death, and I don't want to be in the same room with him. And he assured me that that was not the case. So, the people I was with said, let's go back and see it again, because we just got back and we thought everything was squashed. So we arrived about 45 minutes to an hour later, and we were kept waiting for a bit, you know. And then around that time, one of the assistants came up probably about an hour or 2 hours later whilst waiting. And he said, oh, is this the Zoe Penu and the Doe family meeting? Can you imagine my face? I was like, what? In my head, oh, not again. I thought we had put this thing to bed. So at the same time, one of the bishops who was on the Reburial Committee, Bishop Seeley, called me. We had a private chat. And again, it was about the Zoe issue again. Please, can you forgive him? You're a Christian. Jesus says we should forgive.
So who were talking to you like that?
It was the Bishop Seeley. He's on the Reconciliation Committee.
Okay.
I think he's the head of the Episcopal Church in Liberia.
All right.
So, I was just saying, with all due respect, Bishop, if you see your snake, are you going to say, oh, it hasn't bitten me, so let me go and embrace it? This guy's a snake. He is evil to me. I can't be with him. I can't even bear to talk to him. And I just said, with all due respect, why are you asking me to reconcile with a man who I believe is responsible for my mother's death? A man who has neither acknowledged any accusation. He has never shown any remorse. Most importantly, he has never faced accountability. I felt that it was a one-sided request, just on my side. So he was going to the Bible and what Jesus said. And I just said, this is forced silence. This is injustice, clothed in religious language. I can't bear this. And I said, no. My answer is no yesterday, and it's no today, and it's going to be no tomorrow. So, and then we left. So then I knew for a fact something was not right. Long story short, we finally were let into the conference area where the president had this really, really long table. And to my surprise, guess who was there? Prince, guess who was there?
Who was there? Zoe
Yes.
Penguin?
And
Who and Zoe was Zoe there?
it was Zoe. Zoe was there. Silu was there. The bishop was there. The Minister of Education was there. Chris Bailey was there. And a whole host of families. So it was about 10 of them, or 11 or 12. I don't know, but they filled the whole side, okay, plus some of our side. So imagine it was all these people versus just me. So what if I had come by myself? What if I wasn't in a meeting with other people and I said, you guys have to come with me because I don't think I can go there because I'm not sure what's happening. And I'm really uneasy about what's happening.
We took Isaac
So
with
there
me.
with
Took Isaac and then the representative, Sukan.
Yeah, yes. Because we were already having a discussion about the earlier meeting. So there was so when I got there, I immediately felt ambushed, And honestly, my mind went to September 9th. Because I already said I didn't want to be in the same room with this person. And I wasn't comfortable there. And also I felt he is not a part of the Doe Direct family. He's not privy to this kind of discussions that we're having. So I felt I was summoned there, and I felt ambushed, and I was extremely disappointed that I had been misled earlier. I did not have my own trusted siblings with me. If I knew, my siblings all would have been there with me. So we sat down. This is about 10:30. We sat down about that time. And of course, it was just,
now.
Yeah, it was about 10:30, you know. So I mean, I won't bore you with all the diatribe, but it was very long. Pretty much, let me just summarize.
Yeah.
It was very, very long, and I was very tired because we had been up early the day during the day, and we talked up until 12:30. Probably left about 1:15 in the morning, knowing very well the next day. So pretty much, this is what Zoe said. I mean, honestly, he gave his best speech he had ever given. I mean, he was really trying hard to be coherent and to sound normal, but he still wasn't. He demanded that my mother's body be detained. He said, "Mr. President, I am the senior senator of the Grand Jury, blah, blah, blah. And I demand that Nessa B. Doe body be detained and stopped from burial until autopsy is conducted to prove that she did not die from him." So in my head, I'm thinking, I said you wished her. Yes, I did. But an autopsy doesn't prove anything. You're the one who is supposed to take, Sasa wood or whatever you need to take. You're the one who is supposed to eliminate yourself.
You want
Not an autopsy. Yeah, that place. He should have offered to take himself there. But instead he's saying she died from cancer, blah, blah. I mean, honestly, when someone bewitches you or do witchcraft, it manifests itself in different sicknesses. I know what my mother endured. I know how we prayed for her. I know how she had gone into remission and how she was okay. But the minute she had certain dreams and saw certain things happen to her, it started over again. Do you understand? And the worst part, the sad part about it, Sila was there in agreement for this lady to be autopsied, this woman who raised her, who she used to call mama for so long because she didn't know who her real mother was until she found her real mom. So, and then he demanded
that wanted an autopsy because he claimed that you accused him of killing your mom.
Bewitching my mother. Yes.
Because he's the senior senator for Grand Jury County.
Yes.
So they should do
an autopsy. Yes.
And what the president say?
He late. Let's be fair. President Bouarka was extraordinary that night. I don't know how he did it because I was exhausted. And he listened because, this thing went back and forth. Sulu had a word to say. I had a word to say. I had loads to say. Sulu had loads to say. Zoe has some things to say. Chris Bailey said a bunch of rubbish. Other people spoke. And in the end, probably he listened about very, very attentively. He took all the key points. And in the end, the president said, "I'm sorry, it cannot be canceled." So before the president said that, let me summarize some of the key points that was said. So Zoe demanded that the entire program be canceled. Mind you, the program already started. He said
people left from all over the world paid plane tickets and went there. He wanted it to be canceled.
Yes, and he demanded that both burials should be done separately. Yeah, and then of course,
what was the reason?
He said it had never been done before. So why should they bury? His uncle was the president, and so his state, he's entitled to state burial. And Nancy Doe, as he kept calling her,
the uncle's wife was the former first lady too.
No, he forgot that. So, of course, then when he said that, Uncle Isaac interjected and gave an example that President Cheeseman and his wife, were buried together. And they were buried at the property. So he demanded to know all the details about my father's remains and whether it was real and this and that. And he wanted to know. And they had gone to strikers. They had done this and they had done that. All that stuff behind my back. And I just kept quiet because I felt I didn't want to give them any information. They didn't need to know. They didn't have the right to know. And then they objected to us burying our fathers in a private property. We could have buried him somewhere else.
You say who the day that
the whole people who were there. No, not the president. The president was just almost like the judge, was listening. He was like the counselor.
So who was there? It was Zoe.
Sulu. Everything he said, Sulu was just nodding, she was just in agreement with everything he was saying. So it was, when I say they, I mean Zoe, Silu, and the whole crew, and the whole family, who had pretty much
Some of
summoned
your
us.
aunties were there too.
All of them, yeah.
You knew them. The people, most of the people that there, you knew them.
It was my first time seeing Teresa, but I had been seeing Auntie Susie. Auntie Susie, to me, I guess she had to show support, but she has never been against my mother. She's always been a good auntie to us. We've never personally had problems with her, because if you can remember from my mom's interview, she did speak very highly of Auntie Susie. Auntie Susie always said, "Why
Oh,
are you
okay. There
guys
was
doing
the lady
this?"
who your mom talked about in the interview. What she said, she tried to help
Yeah,
and try to say what you're doing to this lady is
yeah,
not right. Is that the lady?
yes, yes, that's her. That's her. That's the Auntie Susie. She's the only one I can call auntie, because she's been an auntie, but it's just her by herself. She didn't like what they were doing to my mom. She didn't like what they were doing to us, and she said that from the very beginning in the 1990s, that you guys are driving a wedge. Return the properties. Don't do this. Don't do that. But she was there. So I didn't disrespect her, because I've always respected and loved her. She's the only one of my father's sister who I think is a nice person.
Yes, so let's move forward
And
now.
also,
That
yeah.
so what you want to say? Say that.
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm just saying there was another person from the defense, the secretary who was there, security, about security. He made a very funny comment
Hey,
where he
who?
was saying that he was unsure. He was an advisor of some sort, but he was there representing defense, Minister of Defense and
Okay.
secretary.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying that he was unsure who the next of kin was. He didn't know who to give the flag to. Of course, the flag for my father's casket. And I was really puzzled. How can you not know who's the next? It's because Zoe has been saying so many times he's a doe. He's more doe than us. And I'm thinking, are people really buying this? You can see me. I've already introduced myself, and someone had referred to me. This is the first daughter of the president and his wife. How can you not know who's the next of kin? Anyway, I didn't say anything, because I just felt I really didn't need to say anything. Because Representative Sokan spoke excellently, and also Uncle Isaac. So I really didn't need to say much. So after they concluded, where the representative was really saying, Mr. President, we beg you, this burial has to go on. So many people have come. District 1, District 2, District 3, everyone in Town is waiting and ready for us. The whole of Grand Gedeh is anticipating this burial. It cannot stop. Who's to say? One of the things that Zoe was saying is that we needed to get along. We have to get along. Since when does that stop people from burying their loved ones? We don't get along with you because you're evil. He's not talking about how he's going to change
So,
or what
so,
he's going to
so,
do.
so Vero, let go from the meeting with the president. They tried to stop it. The president said no. We're gonna go on with the burial. And then
Exactly.
the
That's
next day
exactly
was
what happened.
Wednesday. You went to the pavilion. Then from there you start hitting on to Grand Gedeh.
Yeah.
I seen Wednesday. It was raining.
It was raining during the march, so we marched.
So
There was
the
raining.
protocol we saw that each county if you reach to any, like the people from Montserrat would come to Magibi, and then the superintendent would come and then take it. Was it like that? I said,
No, that did not happen. That was canceled a couple of days before. I think it was lack of budget or something, but I don't know the real reason. Uncle Isaac would be best placed, but it was canceled. So all of that stoppage and handover to the superintendent of the next county did not happen. But we were okay with that.
okay. But then it's the news that came out here. Just speak to it, maybe 1 or 2 minutes. When y'all got to Nima, they said the convoy or whatever was stopped by some citizens, some bike riders. How was it? Is that story true?
Yeah, I heard something like that, but we were in a very long convoy. First, because what I saw from my purview, they were rejoicing. Most of them were rejoicing. Even some of them were congratulating me, and that's what I've heard. But afterwards, I heard that there was some. But we went with the police escort,
Yeah. Hmm.
EPS, and also we went with the soldiers, 2 truckloads of soldiers, and they just, I think, just moved it because they had stopped there for a while, and we were getting ready to go. So I think they started following the convoy, and it was triumphant, and then probably something happened, but I wasn't with them, so I can't really speak on that
So nobody blocked it.
because we had stayed back.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I heard, but I didn't really see it. I saw when people were jubilating. That's what I saw,
So
but
then
that's what
you
I heard.
so then you got to Town. I seen Wednesday.
Yeah.
You slept in town.
Yes. Yes.
You had a big feast.
Yes. So we got there. Oh, it was amazing. The people of Town, we want to say thank you so much. Malawala Balawala was there. There was a cultural dancing. They acknowledged both my mom and my dad, which was good because we felt that during the, condolence book signing, her picture was a miss. And I think that was had to do with Zoe anyway. And but they were great. The entertainment was all night. They cooked a lot of food. There was a lot of dancing. There was a lot of speeches. It was good. It was amazing, and I really thank everyone. Town, Captain Amos Lay, he was there. I think he did a long speech, but all the reps from all of the other districts, everyone was there. It was a big, really good, big stop, and it really, really showed us what was in store, how great it was going to be. So
And then
then
you
we left
and
around
then you left
9:30 the next morning.
the next morning. And the protocol, the paper
Hmm.
we got that you guys were supposed to go straight down, and then when you reach to your town, Tucson, your town, you from Tucson. You go
Yeah.
into Tucson, spend some minute, get back on the road, and then you go to Zoya. So why the protocol was not followed?
Well, we had stopped in every junction on our way. We were en route to Tucson, I think about 3 or 4 stops before. Actually, let me backtrack. On the night that we were doing the celebration at Town, Uncle Isaac had gotten a text from one of the Tucson people, and they were saying that we were not allowed to stop in Tucson until we paid 5,000 US. We had to give them 10 bags of rice, several gallons of oils, and all along these long demands. So we were thinking, where is this coming from? That wasn't part of the plan. We were supposed to stop in Tucson. So I just said, well, you do what you think is best. I just ignored it. But in my head, we don't want all that wahala, So I wasn't really excited about stopping Tucson because, I mean, are they going to hold something hostage? And also, too, on your show, we had heard a couple of days before, and I had watched briefly where you were giving all these updates about what you had heard and how they're going to take the casket hostage. So we were, I was there was a little bit of trepidations.
So you were
Yeah,
traveling at the
exactly.
same
Thanks.
time listening to Facebook.
Yes, 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 yes. Quite a few people sent me the link and say you guys need to hear. So, but you see, the decision on the stopping wasn't really just down to me. I had to consult the other siblings, and some of them had never been to Tucson. They really wanted to go. So I said, here's what's happening, but what is it you guys feel? And we all said as a consensus, let's see what EPS says. So 3 or 4, I didn't stop anything because sometimes I have to have consensus. There's sometimes I
Mhm.
make decisions, but there's other times I have to just follow and just wait and see what happens. So I just said, God, if God's willing, we will stop. If not, we won't stop. 3 or 4 towns before, we're stopping at one of those junctions. There was a lot of school kids, pledging, saluting the coffins and stuff and paying homage. Then I was told, oh, EPS have gone ahead and they're saying that this and this is happening. And they're saying that if we get there, they've got information that the casket would be confiscated. And if it was confiscated, it would be a delay because then tradition people and the devil will come up and it will be delayed and ruin our whole program. And they asked me what I thought. I said, well, you know what? If that's what they want to do, then we're just going to go straight through. In fact, let's speed through Tucson. So that's how come we bypassed it. We got a call asking why we didn't stop. And we said, because this is what the EPS told us. So
You got a
everything was
call from
okay.
who? You got a call from who?
Well, just say Uncle Isaac updated me on a call. That's all we'll say.
That
So it
way.
was asking why we didn't stop. Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
and then you got
So then,
there was a lady when you
yeah,
got they got right there after the bridge entering Swedru.
yeah.
There was a lady
Hmm.
that tried she came out and she was speaking like I think sounded like somebody from Sierra Leone, Ghanaian accent. Who is she?
So this is someone I had heard, I'd met once. It was my couple years ago, probably 2 or 3 years ago, on a trip to New York. I heard about her for the very, very first time. She claimed to be Doe's daughter, And so that was the time that we met for the first time. But I can tell you, she was at my mom's wake, and but I was completely shocked by her actions. It was really uncalled for. She was talking a whole bunch of stuff that didn't make sense, and she single-handedly wanted to disrupt the whole thing. So of course, Kathy and other people in the prophet and Kathy got out the way, and there was some fisticuffs. And so she was really pushed out the way. And we told the soldiers to just remove anyone who wants to stop us. So she was quickly removed. So that was one of the hiccups. But that was things that were probably going to come that we did not anticipate, which was one of them. So that's what happened. But yeah, she claims to be a sister. But of course, right now, the way things are going, DNA is required. Right now, anyone can say they're Joe's child. I don't believe anyone.
How about Obadiah?
Definitely. You mean AI, Amazon? Yeah, definitely.
Obadiah.
Definitely DNA. Definitely DNA. All of them. So listen, anyone who is not born of my mother and my father, and even before all this, nonsense happened, even people who my mom had accepted, that would have been fine. But now they have said she's no longer my mom. I don't respect her. So if my mom had put in a hedge of protection saying, these are my children, and now you're denouncing her declaration of you as a child, so why should I accept you as a child? So then you need DNA too. Because, we raise nieces and nephews as children, and the parents accept them as children. We all know that. But also, when your husband has a child outside of wedlock and the wife accepts them, I should accept them too. Because that's how we grew up. But now these children are saying, we don't know her. They're being downright disrespectful. So, okay, since you want to be disrespectful, since you want to denounce her, you need to prove to me who you are. Or better yet, your DNA must line up with Zoe because he claims to be more Zoe. So let your DNA line up with Zoe before I say us.
So you want them to do DNA with Joe? How about you?
Definitely.
You wouldn't do a DNA with them? With you, Veronica?
I could do both, but let them match up with Zoe as well. Since Zoe is claiming them. All of my brothers and sisters, 4 of us, who are biological siblings, we're happy to do DNA with all of them. But also, in addition to that, let their DNA, since Zoe is their head, let their DNA match up with his as well. Because now, if you start disrespecting her, we need to take you to the court of law.
Oh, okay. So you're willing also to do a DNA with those who claim to be your father?
Anyone, with everyone, and anyone, yes.
Including
absolutely. Zoe. Yeah, let Zoe come and give his DNA. He say he's Zoe. Let him come.
You got into swear you on a Thursday night. You got into swear you on Thursday night. We saw the whole thing. You went to the I think Mose PR is some pitch. Abbott White Sport area.
Yeah.
You had everything there. They had a little program and you win. And then all of a sudden, about 5 o'clock our time, going to 6 o'clock, which of them, I think 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, or 9 o'clock your time.
Yeah, about 9:30, quarter to.
Yeah, this is somebody. Some people were taking the caskets to Tucson.
Yep. So
did they call you to tell you that we're going to do this? We're going to transport the people to Tucson?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
None of your siblings were notified.
I mean, we were outraged. That's an understatement.
Was Isaac informed? Isaac Yenabo?
No, he was not. I mean, we were completely
caught
Who ordered
the car? Who ordered the casket to leave that night?
So it was the president.
President Boycott.
But you know what? I don't blame him. Let me explain why.
Tell us.
Let me tell you why I don't blame him. Because of what he said to me, when Zoe started raising his ugly head to summoning us to meetings, even us having an audience with Zoe, knowing very well I didn't want to be a part of any conversation with him until after the burial and until he has met my requirements, which was to bring my father's documents, right? Okay. He started sneaking in because I know when I've been speaking to President Boycott afterwards, I know what I said to him about Zoe. And he did not want to be involved. He didn't really comment. He just shook his head. Like he really didn't want to be a part of it. Like, that's family rubbish and I don't want to be a part of it. And which I was really glad, because I didn't want another person telling me about reconciliation with this guy. Do you understand? So when did things change? It's because Zoe started doing. Did I tell you at that meeting, when Zoe was sat next to the president, it's like he was just manipulating the whole entire situation. Zoe had something in his mouth talking to these old people.
Veronica, can you
Yes,
tell us
yes,
that when they're trying to take the casket out of Swaju, can you tell us, please? You were not
yes.
informed.
So we had gotten a call. We had gotten a call about 9:45 from my cousin who was at the wake, because we had gone and left and decided to come back because the official wake started at 10. So we're going to call and say, we're at the stadium right now, and we're seeing the float moving. Where is it moving to? And someone else called us, and some group of people of security, they were calling us, they were yelling, you guys, you need to wake up. Where are you guys at? So we blocked, because we were at, how'd you call this place? Senator Afonso Hotel.
Alfonso
Marquinham
Gay?
Hotel, which is the first hotel is at the entry of Zwedru. So anyone leaving would have to have passed us.
Yeah.
So we got all of our rented vehicles, about 7 or 8 of them, and we blocked the road. And some of us, and I included, started moving further down, trying to see where the float was, because it hadn't come down our end yet. And do you know, it wasn't far. It was right at Cash, Cash Hotel. That's where it was. So that's all of a sudden, I don't know where all these people came from, but we were so grateful to see them. So the float was surrounded by soldiers and by EPS police escort. And they were escorting it to Tuzon, is what we heard. So I was speaking to one of the people who was escorting. He had a digger, a shovel, like he's been digging something. And I said to him, what is going on? He said, you need to speak to the president. I've just been in a meeting and it's been agreed that the burial is going to happen in Tucson tonight. And I said, it can't be, it's not possible. And he said, it is possible. You need to go and speak to him. So whilst this happening, my siblings are crying. My brother, Varney, is really irate. I think he wants to fight someone. Kathy is there, like, you guys cannot take my parents away. It was mayhem. And then I got a call. Okay. I got a call right there. So, do you know where the president was? It was right at the Cash Hotel, which is where he was staying.
Yeah.
And yeah. And then we were speaking to the soldiers as well. And they said, please, can you return this back? And they said, no, we've got orders from the highest office to take this float to Tucson. And I spoke to the police, and I think Barney was probably fighting one of them. And so they took the keys out of the float, saying, we cannot turn this float around until we get permission from the president to remove ourselves from here. So we said, okay, you guys are gonna have to run over us because no one is moving. And then even I spoke to the undertakers, who came with us from Stryker. And they said they had received a call from the Minister of Education, that I, Veronica Mamido, had instructed them to take the caskets to Tucson for burial. And so all this was too much. So right then and there, so the commotion was really loud. And I got a call from the president, and he said, haven't I done all for you? Is what he said to me. And can you imagine, my mind was completely blown. And he said, didn't you want your parents to be buried in his hometown, Tucson? So from his conversation, it sounded like someone must have gone to him and told him that's what I wanted and that's what I preferred. And I knew exactly the only person who was capable of doing that wickedness, no one else but Zoe Manupenu. And so I just said, Mr. President, I would never, ever want my parents buried there, especially my mother. If Zoe wants to bury someone in Tucson, let him unbury his father and rebury him in Tucson. But there is no way we are in agreement with that. I mean, can you just imagine, I need people to put themselves in my position. What would you have done, Because can you imagine what they would have done to my mother's body? Because, we had just had an open casket. We had a little memorial for her at Stryker before we closed the casket, We already heard, and also from your show, and from other people that he was looking to do ritual purposes with my mother. And do you know they would have emptied her out the casket, undressed her, desecrate her in the most nasty of ways? So all that stuff was going through my head. So yes, I was very upset. To say I was upset was an understatement, you know. You know, Tucson is my father's hometown. But because all this stuff has been going on with the people from Tucson not getting any backing, and also, mind you, we knew that Zoe also wanted to be president forever. We've always known that. And they've always felt that he needed
So
to
want to be
access
so
my
want to be
father's.
a president. So want to be the president of the
Yeah, I
Republic of
said,
Liberia.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Your
It's
cousin still
laughable,
want
but
to be
it's
the
true.
president of the Republic of Liberia.
Absolutely. That's his dream. That's his ambition. So whoever told him so, we know that he's been looking for my father remains, you know? That's the reason I was saying those people in Caldwell, we really are grateful for them because they refuse to give it to even us, they know the exact location. They told us that all they said to us was your father is sitting and we won't tell you the exact location until we feel that you're going to do it for a right purpose. That's what they told my mom. So anyway, so back to what I'm saying, we know that they know. So that's really when the fight, do you know when all this started? Was when we uncovered his remains, which was on a Friday. That's when everything started happening. All bunch of stuff behind the scenes. People were just asking information. People were upset. People wanted to get this. People want us to turn it over. And I had to tell several people, even on the Rivera committee, this, my father's remains, is off limit to you. I don't trust anyone with my father remains. Do you remember when we did the press release? Prince, if you can double check for us. One of the main reasons my mother said that she didn't want Zoe to be a part of the committee was because of her husband's remains. She didn't want Zoe to have access to it. Do you remember that? I'm not sure if you do, but some
Yeah, I
other
saw the
people
press.
might
I
do.
saw the press. I saw the press
Yes,
release
it was
from
because of my
Joe.
father's remains. Do you know what? If they had gotten access to that remain, it would have been catastrophic. Zoe would have been walking with a cane with our father's remains in there because they believe, okay, he is the president. This is where we get power from. Blah blah blah, all kinds of witchcraft nonsense. But that's what he believed, and that's what he was going to do to desecrate his remains. And so they're waiting for us to find it. I'm telling you, I kid no lie. The minute we found it, that's really when the spiritual warfare started. It wasn't
So,
before. It
so, so,
was
so
after we found it.
let's go to that Friday. Let's go to that Friday. You went to Kawe,
Yes. We went on
where
a Thursday first.
where your father was killed on a Thursday first, and then you
Yeah.
went back Friday.
Yeah.
Tell us
We
about.
dug all day. Okay, so let me just backtrack. In the when President Johnson was president, Ellen Johnson was president, she had taken my mom there with her to show where he was buried. And then she said, oh, after he was buried, they had taken him out, they had burned his ashes, they had done this, they had put it in the river, and then she took him to the river. So my mom,
Ellen Saliv went to Kawe.
yeah, with my mom. So
Okay.
during her presidency, I can't remember, probably whenever she was president, I don't know, 2012,
Yeah,
13, or
where,
14.
yeah,
Yeah, it
16,
was
17.
early on during her presidency. So when she took my mom there, my mom was really upset, because, but that night, some of the people from Caldwell, it was two of them, they visited my mom, and they said to her, "We couldn't talk to you because Ellen was there, but please, Mrs. Doe, do not cry. We know where your husband remains are." She's like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah." He said, "We buried him. We dug 6 feet deep, and then we sat him down." They didn't say why they sat him down, but we've always known that's what they said. They said we sat him down.
In
You will
Kawe,
find him in
in
Caldwell.
Kawe.
Yeah. Yes. So she's lying to you, is what they said. They said she knows that he's buried here. She's had quite a few different events here. She comes every year to do her rituals. She comes every year to do incantations and rituals, and she drops stuff, all kinds of stuff.
Who
And she
now?
even has
Ellen?
Ellen. Yes, yes. So she knows exactly, and they've asked her so many times. And we keep giving her the same place, which is the backyard. But that's not where he is. But she comes here every year to do rituals. So don't listen to what she's saying. And we purposely gave them, because they used to bring a lot of bodies over there. She said, we loved Doe, we're Bassa. We loved him. So we had a little private thing for him, and we buried him hurriedly, and we sat him down. And we shot one bullet into where we buried him. 6 feet under, and you won't find any other remains. She said where we showed him is where they brought a lot of the soldiers, that were killed. So whenever they come, they dig, 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 dig. They will find a lot of bones and a lot of army uniforms. That's how come my mom took the soil for the soldiers, because she wanted one day when she reburied her husband to have that soil. So we've always had that soil from that place. So my mom said, but where exactly? She says, no. They said to her, no, we can't tell you where he is. All we know that he is there. We won't tell the exact location. When you're ready to come and take him out, and we know where you're going to do with him. This is what they said. They gave her conditions. But right now, our loyalty is to God first, and then to him as a president. So that's all we knew. Do you understand? So on Thursday, we went there. So we did all the things. We paid homage. We paid all the, not fees, but thank you. I can't say fees because you can't. There's no amount of money to pay them for what they did. So we did what we needed to do with them, the stuff they asked and requested, the food, the stuff. We did all of that. So they watched us dug in the same place. The same place that someone had a one-woman memorial in April. We dug and we dug and we dug and we dug all day. We kept digging. And
So when you say we dug, you alone with your family members, who, when were you there?
No, it was us. Of course, we had the prophet there because, let me backtrack a bit. 2020, the Talbots came to my mom and said to her, you need to find your husband's remains. We know that he exists. Pretty much in those, similar those words, you need to have a reburial for him, is what they said to us. Yeah. So that's when my mom released a press release, try to go back to the government, but of course, they won't see her, they won't take her seriously, So we spoke to the prophet. That's the time they introduced us to the Prophet Saul, who became my mother, pastor, and prophet. Okay. And he said, go back and take a soil, but the Lord is saying, you will locate him at the right time, but this is not the time. Of course, we all cried because we wanted it to be the time, because we had the money to do the burial and everything. He said, no. The Lord said, this is not the right time. In due course, when it's the time, when you come back here, we will find him. But until then, don't come back, just take the soil. So we took the soil again. You understand? So then on that Thursday, we dug and we dug. We were there with EPS soldiers. EPS police people, not soldiers, EPS police, about 26 to 27 of them.
So that Friday you went with EPS guys?
No, that Thursday they were already there. Okay. They were already there. We called them because we didn't want people intervening. We wanted them to protect the place. Because once we started digging, we needed them to protect the area that we're digging. Yeah. And we didn't want any pictures. We didn't want anything like that.
Okay.
And I had told the Ribera people another day because I just didn't want them. I didn't want Chris to be there because I couldn't trust him because, I always felt, and I still do feel, he's in Zoe's pocket. So we couldn't find anything. We found some things. We found lots of fragments and stuff, but it wasn't consistent with what we've been told, that he was by himself and he was sat down. So I was really disheartened because I'm thinking, oh Lord, it won't be a reburial. It's going to have to be a memorial if you can't trace anything. So the prophet said, no, the Lord said it's here. We should come back tomorrow. So I said, okay, let's come back tomorrow. So we got there tomorrow, the following day, which is the Friday. Okay. And we dug for about an hour still. We're just increasing the search because the backyard is quite big. And then an old lady out of nowhere, she went to the prophet and said, who are you? And he introduced himself. I'm the prophet to the nation. My name is Amazon. Who is she? This is Mrs. Doe's daughter and the president's daughter. What are you guys doing here? We're looking for the president's remains. What? And she was old lady, but she was quite feisty. What do you want to do with him? And he said, we're here to rebury him and his wife together. And she had a smile on her face, like finally. It's like as if we said the right thing that she was listening for. It's like, okay, follow me. And do you know, she led us about 20 feet from the backyard right to the house. So where she led us was an alleyway. So there's the stairs going upstairs right under that area in the alleyway. Now, mind you, no one will ever think about digging in the alleyway right next to the house. No one buries anyone right next to the house. Mm-hmm. And she drew a circle. She says, right here, where we buried him that day, we were all crying and we sat him down. The same thing someone told my mother about that time. So we were digging and it was three undertakers, and then the first guy passed out, and he had to give the other guy had to come and take over because it was just a very small place. She said nowhere else. She said we put him here. We gave other people different bodies because we knew they had bad intentions for the president, and we didn't want them to do any rituals on him. It was our job, our duty to do that. And we've given them that site because Ellen has been here every year to do her charms. Same thing the other lady said. And we didn't want her to do anything over him. So that's how we dug. Well, not me. The second guy dug, he almost passed out. And mind you, the atmosphere had completely changed. It's like all the hairs on our hands started standing. And the second guy almost passed out. And the third guy came. Those three of them, the boss of them came. And he was about to pass out too. And then the prophet hit him on his back and said, I empower you, continue digging. And that's how he continued digging. And then we finally found the bullet that she said was there. And then they dug him. I mean, honestly, it was like a mummified, not mummy. I mean, there was no flesh, it was only skeletons. But he was actually sitting. And, for years I've been hearing that word, he is sitting. But I was perplexed. How can a skeleton sit? But it was sat. I mean, when I come to America, I'm going to show you the video. So right away, I said, please, please, please. I said to the prophet, you need to video. He's like, but I thought you said we should video. I was like, yeah, but you need to video and record this. So they had moved him onto the blue sheet by that time, his remains onto the blue sheet. And so by the time we got the camera, the skull had fallen, but you could see the hip bone, the knees were up, as if someone was sitting on a stool. The knees were up together, twisted, but it was in a certain position. You will see it when I get to you. So that's what happened. And I can tell you from that day, that's when we had serious warfare because almost everyone wanted his remains. And it felt like they were waiting for us to find it because before we found it, remind you, we're waiting on the Lord. And number two, the prophet had to be there. And number three, me now in the place of my mom had to be there. So those three things had to happen at the same time. Else, the people there was not going to show it to us because mind you, they didn't show it to us the first day. They was just looking at us, and we had been talking to them for 2 or 3 weeks. So they knew who we were, but maybe they thought if we were serious because it was almost like they were guardians of his remains. They didn't want to give it to us until we said, because all the time we were there, we never said we wanted to rebury him with his wife. We just said we wanted it and said, okay, y'all do this, y'all do that. We did all that stuff, but it's only on that Friday that we got it. And from then, that's when things really, really took a turn for us.
So you had a casket there that day to put it in?
No, it was just the body remains. It was just the body bag. So once we got there, we took it to the funeral home. We put it in a bronze casket, and we lock it. And they gave the keys to us, and we made sure that for them not to say that it was there. And that's what they did. They told everyone that I even had it in my bag, which of course it was too big to fit in my bag. His remains.
So you took some of the bones. So you took some of the bones with you to England.
Who said that?
So you had the remains in your bag and you traveling around with it.
No, when you're in that moment and you have that experience and you see something the Lord has done for you that He told you He was going to do, but you believe Him, but you have to experience it too. Like, wow, it finally happened. And that moment was so sacred. I didn't want anything to touch it. I didn't even really want to touch it because for someone to be sitting, for a skeleton to be sitting is something I've never heard of. And we just knew without a shadow of a doubt because we always were told how to find him, but they didn't tell us where exactly he was. So it was nothing for me to check. It was nothing for me to test. I just knew it. Anything else would have been desecration.
So you're telling me you found your father's remains and you buried it in
100%.
In Sweden.
100%.
I'm kind of shocked too. So you ever thought about doing some DNA to find out if it's, or you just believe that's it?
100%, because tell me, Prince, how many people are buried, skeletons sitting up, that they tell you this is how we did it? And it wasn't even just me. When those people who did the statue, when they were looking to get the soil from there, They said they met one of the people and they tell them, we can't tell you exactly where he is, but if you find him, he will be sat down. They told me that.
That was
And that's how,
Ubote James President Ubote.
yeah. So it was nothing. The
Because
atmosphere.
Liberians listen to Prince Johnson on the TRC that your father
Mhm.
got burned, his remains, the ashes is thrown into, I think, St. John or some of these rivers. And then you're saying that you found it. So it kind of shocking to us.
Yeah, but you have to really believe the source. I mean, is that someone credible, knowing what he's done, boastful? No. Of course, they always have to look grandiose. They have to look big in doing wickedness, so they can put the fear of God into people. You know. So why would someone believe something like that?
Because what we got is like this got after they that September 9th,
Mm-hmm.
that Sawyer president, Sawyer now the interim guy, accused him, Johnson, of kind of eating the body of Doe. So
Mm-hmm.
it was some, I think, New York Times news guys went in there and he docked him out, docked the
Mm-hmm.
body out.
Mm-hmm.
So the body they docked out, the people say it was not the real body they docked out.
But I remember seeing that article, and if you
The New York
recall, one of
Times,
the
yeah,
objections
New York Times said
one
it.
of the objections was that the skeletal remains was of a person who was at least 6 feet 2 inches.
Yeah, because
My
in that
father was
particular story, that New York
mhm,
Times, yeah, those not 6 feet, those about my height, maybe 5'8",
five,
5'9",
yeah,
5'8". I
five
mean,
eight, 5'9" with boots on.
Samuel Dole, everybody. But that guy
Yeah,
who's the doctor was 6 feet. So the New
was
York
six
Times, the
feet two
journalist
inches.
even had issue believing Johnson at a certain point. But he said that was
Mhm.
it. That was Dole.
But what did you expect him to say? Really, what did you expect him to say? They had to be very grotesque and very inhumane to show themselves powerful. Mind you, this is someone who had promised peace 48 hours before my father was captured. So is this someone who is trustworthy? This is someone who is a known assassinator. That was his career. So you can't expect anything that's truthful from them. And this is the same someone who my mother, my brother had reconciled, as terrible as it was and as hard as it was. They reconciled and everything was supposed to be okay. We can't be best friends, but let's respect each other. And what has he done since then? Disrespected the whole Grand Gideon, everyone. And no one has said anything, said, look, you can't do that. This is supposed to be a peaceful time. You can't show your dominance in your country by because he was ruling by fear. And that's what the people bought. Because if you look at Grangidians in Nimbanians in Grangida, because mind you, we're all brothers, okay? We're just separated by boundaries.
Yeah.
They are not oppressed in Granjida. They have businesses. They intermarry. Even my mom's village, the doctor and the nurse are from Nimba. So having an Ibanians in Granjida is common. They're welcomed. But can you say the same? Can you say the same, Prince? You can't say the same for those people.
Telling me not a lot
Granjidas
of
cannot.
students in Nimba County.
Sorry,
Not you don't have a lot of grandchildren in Nimba County.
not on that level. Then definitely not as free. But in Granjida, they are very free, and that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to be. So if my father was spewing hateful messages, Granjita wouldn't even accept them. But he never did. Do you know that my father had over 3 to 4 reconciliatory meetings in Nimba up until May 1990? That's when the old man said to him, oh, that's a needle under your foot, but you won't be able to see it. Something to that effect. He went there to say, what are you guys doing? We're one. Because he knew who the real enemies were. And even during the time there was a tradition, we met with people, let's make peace, let's do that. So he's always been the person. Even 48 hours, there was a peace reconciliation meeting as well. So he has always gone out of his way to do reconciliation,
Yeah.
but it wasn't forthcoming.
So
And when even
that lady in Kawe, do you still know you have a contact, your talk? The lady who showed you the area.
It was an old lady. I'm sure if I go there, I probably will see her.
She lives around the
It was an
area.
old lady. Yeah, yeah. It was,
I
those
mean, you
people, they're
saw
very
her
good.
because you say you were standing up and then she walked to you. So you saw where she lived.
That
When
lady saw
you
us.
see
I
her,
mean, people were
when you
surrounding
see her,
us,
you can
but they kept
recognize
them
her.
apart.
When you see the lady tomorrow at any
Yeah,
time, you recognize her.
I would. Yeah, I will. And I told them I'll go back to tell them thank you. So I had seen her. I had seen her before, but they don't say anything. They just sit there and they just look at you, and you do your offering, you do your gifts, and you tell them thank you. And they just accept it very, very willingly. But they don't say anything until they're 100% sure. She had to have been 100% sure because they told my mom, they couldn't tell my mom the exact location because they said that the loyalty was to God first and then my father. That when she gets there, which I'm happy they didn't tell because my mom didn't really keep much secrets. So
So
I'm happy they didn't tell the
they
exact
told you
location.
why was your father's buried sitting down on a chair? Why?
No, they never said it. It wasn't on the chair. It wasn't on the chair. It was on the
Something. You were
ground.
sitting. Okay, okay,
But
but
you know,
why?
because yeah, because the skeleton, the way the skeleton was positioned, like someone sitting like this, they didn't
But
say why he
they
was
didn't tell you
buried
why
sitting
they
down.
get buried in because nobody would lay that person down.
Exactly. I've never seen that before. I just think it was God inspired because look at all the stuff we're going through. If it was any other regular bone, we would have had to have DNA. You
Yeah.
understand? But because we expected it to be a certain way, in a certain condition by
So
himself.
was Gion there too, or just you alone from the from your father's side with that? Your father's children, only you alone? Were any of your siblings there?
All day, we didn't. Huh? Barney was there the day before.
On Friday, were any of your siblings there while they were doing the digging?
No, no.
Just you?
It was just me and the prophet. They were supposed to
No, I
come.
mean from your siblings.
No, no. They were just there the day before, but they weren't
Okay.
there on that day because we had divvied up the tasks because we had so many things to do. We had so many things to run around. We only had very, very short time.
And you believe that
So
people wanted to take the bones? Because I took
absolutely.
it out.
Look at my press
Somebody wanted
release.
to take.
And my mom believed it
Anybody
too.
ask you? Anybody in your family, ma'am, in your family, ever ask you that they wanted to see the bones?
Yeah. Yeah. We show them the video. We show them the video.
And they wanted to see. They actually wanted to see the
No, no,
remains.
no, no, no. They never. I mean, if they had wanted to see it, we have the key. We could have shown it to them. But they saw the video, and they saw it being wrapped up. They were all there. So when we were doing the viewing, it was only for my mom that they
But do
wanted
you
to see
believe
her
that
because
Zoe believe? Do you believe that Zoe actually believed that the bones in there was his uncle?
then he wouldn't have done all the things he did. Imagine getting called to the president's office twice in one day, trying to cancel it, trying to say that they need to confiscate the casket, they need to have the casket. We should delay by a whole year. All the stealing. Who goes to that trouble? Who goes to that trouble to actually try to manipulate the president, to lie and say that was what I wanted, which is how the president gave permission because they said that's what I wanted. You understand? I'm sure he didn't go and say, "Oh, it has to go." The president thought I had been consulted, and that's what I wanted. So that's the reason he asked the question. Isn't that what you want for him to be in Tucson? And I said, no, of course not. He's like, oh, okay, then I'm going to tell the soldiers to take it back.
So maybe apparently somebody went to here and said, well, "Mommy wanted to go back so we can pass into 2 zone and then come back." I think that's why somebody
So,
probably told
so,
him.
so had been there the whole day. So we were on our guard. So had been to Cash
You
Hotel
know,
where the president was staying the whole day. So we were
but
on our
so
guard. We
you
were
now,
expecting.
you Veronica got Mamie Do. Your father is from Tucson, even though he's from
Mhm,
Liberia, Grand Gedeh, and Tucson to
mhm,
be precise.
mhm,
That his
mhm.
remains and he and his wife they didn't even go into Tucson to at least spend 20, 30 minutes with the people before leaving. You you didn't you don't feel no nothing. You okay with that?
I'm absolutely okay with that because of their intentions. We were supposed to stop. Why would you confiscate the casket when we get there? It defeats the whole purpose of the program. He was a president not just for that village. The least he could be done is to get him buried in the city, well, the town of Zwedru.
and
where everyone will have access to him.
your two zone people are hungry. You're going to talk
They
to
can go
them.
to hell.
Tell them sorry.
No, tell them I said they can go to hell.
You didn't go to the tradition. You're going to tell them sorry. This is tradition, though.
Tell them they can go to hell.
The Amadori, I
I'm
can't
not
do it.
sorry.
You Amadoris,
Okay, so I can tell them.
I can't do
Okay,
it.
then get someone else. But the reason, okay, first of all, these are the same people who did not go to the mat for my mother, who have been very antagonistic towards her, who have been supporting Zopenu all along in his treachery, in his evilness, in his wickedness, in his
The
demonic
two,
activities.
the
They
two zone
have
people.
not all of them, but most of them. Most of them were not with us on the mat. They were banned from coming. You know, some of those who came, the jobs were taken, they were threatened, but they still came. Very few of them. And even I said to some of them, I don't want you to lose your job. Thank you for sympathizing with us. This is Liberia. Jobs are far and few in between. Go back to where you I understand what your position is. But they were banned. They were never. Do you know how many times we've reported Zoe to them, to the leaders, to the tribal? For 35 years. This has been ongoing.
You told the tribal people that Zoe is actually
Of
interfering with y'all
course.
who are two zone children too, and they didn't even say anything to get involved to talk to Zoe.
They can always tell us to leave it to God. They don't even talk to him. Everyone who has told me about reconciliation, talking to Zoe was never an option. You understand? Talking to Zoe was never, even the bishop I told you about from the reconciliation, I don't think he's even crying. Talking to Zoe was never an option. It was always for me to acquiesce to Zoe's demands. And for me, and you know, evil people like that, you don't hug them. I said it before. My mom got sick at a reconciliation meeting with Zoe. I told her to not touch that boy.
So
And
when
the
you went
first thing
to
Zoe does is,
to the meeting the president called, did he ask
"Mhm,
you to hug Zoe?
no. I made it very clear I wasn't even going to hug him. Seriously.
Or was he
I
okay and
made it very, very clear.
was he okay and waiting to hug his sister to get everything under their sleeves and move on with the burial? Was he like okay to reconcile with his sister? So because
I
everything we
felt
say,
disrespect.
yeah, everything we do, yeah, you and Zoe are blood.
We're blood, but some blood is evil. Not all blood is good.
So
And
you want me
Zoe
to
is from a satanic
we've been
bloodline.
we've been here 1 hour 12 minutes, and you want me to open the meeting for 10 minutes for people to call or the phone line?
Yeah, sure, sure. They can call in.
Maybe people want to ask you 1 or 2 questions.
Yeah,
Something you
I'm
want to talk
listening.
about,
Hmm.
especially the remains of your father. I mean, a lot of people just hearing it here now, but they're being told
Yeah,
another story all
I'm
these
happy.
years.
And we never said anything, you know? We never said anything. But someone who will really speak on that, I don't know if you get a chance is to speak to the prophet because he knows all the spiritual implications. He knows what it means. You know, all I know is what I had been told and what we stood by. Because I could not jeopardize people getting their hands on his remains. I couldn't. And honestly, if it had gotten to Tuzon, I'm telling you, Zoe would be happy that it didn't because it would have gotten ugly.
We're going to go to
And thank God
Tucson.
that it didn't go that far. Hmm.
So those of you who watching the show here, I just posted the number there. You can call it on the WhatsApp. You call it on the be respectful, because if you try to be disrespectful to my guests, I usually cut people off. That's what I can do. And all these writing down here, people insulting and this and that, I'm gonna block some people around here. So you have to write to your feelings. You don't come on my podcast and insult people. You have to be respectful. Whoever pays you to come here and be rude, you don't come here and
Oh,
be
a
rude.
bunch of paid
You are
guests.
rude than any other of us here. We can the same
Hmm.
idea or whatever you're doing, we got it. So you come here and be respectful, please. And everybody got 1 minute to ask or say something to Mamie Veronica. Do. We're gonna start with about 1 minute. You're gonna call your name and tell all your states or wherever you're calling from. We're gonna go to okay, let me see here. Mm, this thing is giving me problem now. Let me see here. So I'm caught. I'm caught the phone. Let me start the phone over. Let me start this phone. It's acting funny. So let why get a cup of water there. Let me start this phone. Let me play your music. You like this picture? I know you like the picture. That part who behind you, you saw he's working with you. It's kind of like angry with me.
They all
That
were.
part right there. He's one of your elderly men. So I think from the two zone
He's my
area.
uncle.
Yeah,
He's my
but why was
uncle.
he? Why was he? He was protecting you though, because I saw his virtue. He was you angry over there?
Do you know what? He's one of the veterans, and I have to say thank you to the veterans before I get off, because those veterans, they were up all night watching the caskets, and they were stationed at the bridge. I don't know which bridge they were talking about, but they were stationed at the bridge. People were stationed all over Zwedru to stop that casket if it's already moving.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so he's one of the veterans.
Oh wow. I saw him watching you, kind of like he was angry, but maybe he was tired that day too.
I mean,
So
he was angry then, but he wasn't angry.
because that
I can tell
particular
you when.
that picture was taken when you rejected the cows. That was what that picture was taken. That this picture here was taken.
Yeah,
You remember those
yeah,
cows? Those things you call animals? You take the animals back. That was that
there
picture
are
was.
animals.
Yeah, I know.
There are animals.
So, okay, let me see here. Let me see here. Let me who's calling here? Let me go to Evangeline Mamita. Then the next person calling from Minneapolis will say their name. Mamita, go ahead.
Um, good evening, Veronica.
Good
Good evening,
evening,
friend.
sis.
Yeah, I just want to tell you, God will always guide you. And I've seen people on here say it here, but you are know where they're coming from. And it been 30 something year plus, you've been crying for your father. Your mom been going through a lot. She went through a lot. No Zoe Penny was nowhere to help her in anything. Some of them will come and
Nowhere.
somebody's going to bury her. Yeah, somebody made a statement underneath the post that Zoe Penny is responsible to bury her. Oh, he's not responsible to bury them. Then why is he so into it? His friends then are in Morovia signing bills and stuff. That's where he should be. And leave the children alone. Yet then let their parents rest. You're so angry, Pastor,
Amen.
with Nancy, with all my Nancy. You're so angry because the Hawa woman where your life. She even get time for you. Because you feel this woman, she's not educated. So you start overlooking her and downing and start ganking on she and her children. But we'll tell you to we the now people, we here. You leave our children alone. You did it right thing, Mama. Yeah, then keep talking about I want to tell you there's a lot of Liberian people that support it, especially women. That and they were
Mm-hmm.
supposed to take it into the devil. Yeah, your father had a tradition. If the was going to make it pleasant, and the old people there in the town now worshiping Joe and coming to you and
Yep.
talking to you politely, you were going to maybe agree to it to say, okay, you let's do this. But they
Yep.
all gang because of the late chicken, Joe Penal, over there in the town, they
Teach them.
all the whole time you're there crying. So Pedro never get your father, even when he gets something with your man, they say won't do. How about his uncle children?
Mm-hmm.
What did he do? Eh? But now
Exactly.
all of them stand your grandmama will behind you and I will
Thank you.
stand behind you. I even need to stay. I stand with my auntie, I stand with her husband. When Nancy was suffering, sitting in the market and sleeping on one mattress, we see all the side chick. As soon as they became
Mm-hmm.
President of the Republic, how what then came from. She was called A1. They used to call her or call him with all these things there. He used to, and I'm sorry that I have to talk to your pilot today too. He did run to our daughter. And
Okay, your one
Yep.
minute is finished.
guilty.
Your 1 minute
It
is
was
finished,
not because,
Mamita. Thank you
yes,
very
yes,
much.
no, hold on.
Thank you, sis. Thank you, sis. I love you. Thank you so much.
Love
Yeah,
you. She
thank
love
you,
you very
Mama.
much.
Okay, let me let other people talk.
Yeah. So let's go to the number now. The last number here is 0353. Call what's you calling from? What's your name?
My name is Ezekiel,
Please speak
Minneapolis.
louder so the lady can hear you, please.
Yeah, Ezekiel, Minnesota.
Ezekiel who?
Bravos.
Go ahead.
Okay, so you know, we've been following this story, and I want mommy to know that, like Andy mommy just said, I want Vero to know that she got a lot of support from her parents. She and her siblings, I think they did a very good fight, and she got her parents standing by her side. The only thing I don't want mommy to do, I don't want mommy to make this fight like she and the whole session of the Crown people. This fight should be between you, your brother, your sibling, and your uncle.
Okay.
So when I hear go to hell, I think it was kind of too high. There's a whole session of people you right there. Just make it
1 minute. Thank you very much. Let's go to the next caller. Thank you very much, Robert. Let's go to the next caller.
Can I answer that, please? Can I answer that?
Just listen to it and then keep note. When if the call's finished, then we're going to close it up.
Okay.
Remember, we're going to be here for 1 hour, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't go above that. So there's another caller here, caller from us and 6487. 6487. Where you calling? What's your name? Where you calling from? If you call, please put your phone on mute, please. Caller from the 8.
Yes, hello.
6487.
Yeah, this is Bobby Tootie.
It's not Bobby number. 64.
It's me. Hello. Hi, everyone.
Right.
So my name is Carmen Latipo. I am behind everything I do for social media. First of all, I like this interview. Ever since I saw that interview with Mommy and her mother, it just really hit my heart. I support Mommy. I feel like you are my girl, okay? Because you are a mother's daughter. You stood up for your mom.
Thank you.
For us, our mother don't even know, never went to school. But this is the reason why they send us to school, so that we can stand for that. And you are a voice for your mom. I support you. I love you, girl. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Pray for your brother, Sam. I hope that he helps with it.
Yeah.
And I just pray for you and your mother's children. Okay? All right. Love you, girl.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Caller here from 1702. 1702. Caller, what's you calling from? What's your name? 616. The last number is 17.
Okay. Thank you, Prince. Thank you. How about you, Veronica?
Please call your name and where you calling from.
I'm Joseph Hammer. I'm calling from Michigan.
Go ahead.
How are you, Veronica?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you, Joseph.
Okay. I just want you to be strong. The Liberian people is on your side, and the whole world is on your side with you and your sibling. Just keep on fighting. Of course, you got a lot of battle ahead of you, but those minority group of people will not succeed. Thank you. I call you a brigadier general, and I say you spend no.
Brigadier general, you already
people are on your side, Papa.
Thank you. Let's go to Bobby Tori. Larry Tori. No, before we go to Bobby Tori, let's go to Dino Tally. Bobby Tori, Sluwa, then the number here, 508. Let's go to Dino Tally.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Brother.
Yeah, use your 1 minute, Dino.
All right, thank you. Hello, Mommy.
Hello.
I just want to say thank you.
1 minute, let me connect Glay. That's the 5 people we're going to take because Mommy got to go.
Hello, Mommy. Yeah, so I just want to say, keep your head high. You'll see a lot of negative comments, a lot of negative people around. And we that supporting you, praying for you, even though I don't talk to you, but you always in my prayers. I was in that same, not exactly what you're going through, but I'm the oldest daughter from my father. When my father passed away too during the war, I know what I went through. So we Crown people, some of us don't know, we don't read between the lines. So my daughter, you are doing the right thing. I'm your Kunako grandma. We support you.
Amen.
And kudos to you. And God bless you and all your siblings.
Thank you. Let's go, Bobby Tori.
Good evening, friends, and good evening, Mommy. Again, my heartfelt commiseration. This is Bobby Tootie. I already came to Liberia to be able to meet you to extend my condolences physically, but unfortunately, they say you left for the UK. But all I want to say here is, Mommy, listen, there is a phrase in Liberia that says, "From the tree can bend, but it can't be broken."
I want you to find it in your hearts of hearts that you and Zoe, I know there are some difficult situations have been you, Zoe, and your siblings. I've been listening to you guys. You guys are so eloquent, academically fit. You have so much to offer to Liberia. When you guys come together, Liberia will benefit, your country will benefit. So I'm asking, take your time. Find it in your hearts that you guys can mend fences and come together so you guys can be a force to be reckoned with. Hopefully, I will meet you some of these days so we can sit down and talk. When you guys are together, I think you guys have so much to offer to Liberia. Finally, as the elder sibling, so as your cousin, the elder one, your guy, you have to. It is imperative that you come together because we need you. We need you. We need you. Liberia needs you. Your county needs you. So please, Mama, the most important thing I want to say thank you today that we have our hero that is buried. We can go somewhere and look up to him and have some inner reflection. So please, take your time, try to bring the family together. It's important. The people are gone now. They look up to you as the elder sibling and so as the elder brother. You guys,
thank you.
imperative again that you come together.
Thank you
So much.
Let's go to Slua Bawe. Thank you. Slua Bawe.
Hello, Mommy.
Hi.
Thank you very much for solving the unsolved mystery in the minds of so many of us that your dad was cremated, and today you come here to expose the lies that you found his body and he was buried in the Grand Gedeh. I'm so happy, and thank you very much for what you did. And we'll also be on the social media to debunk those people who trying to say that you lying to the entire world that empty casket was Gedeh. So we're here to be able to follow our message for. Thank you again, and I hope you guys will be able to come together, as Bobby said, to have a family reunion. But I know those who offended you, I think will apologize for you to be able to move on.
Thank you. Thank you, Slua. Okay, the number here is 665 1665. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? 1665.
My name is Ivan, and I'm calling you guys from Boston, Massachusetts.
Can you speak out loud so the lady can hear you?
My name is Ivan, and I'm calling you guys from Boston. Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mamie. It's a pleasure seeing you and talking to you. I want to say thank you so much. My late stepfather was working in the administration of your dad, and I can remember those days when we were much smaller. We used to stand on the street of Banga and be waiting when your dad is coming in Banga. So the courage that you stood for your mom, I really appreciate it. Keep your hands up high and don't listen to detractors, because of the politics of these days have distracted the minds of the youth. Okay. And in times comes, they might learn. So I just want to say thank you so much. You did extremely well.
Thank you.
Keep living your life and keep doing what you do best.
Okay, let's go to Zogle. Alfonso Glade.
Hello, first, can you hear me?
We are hearing you loud and clear, Mr. Glade. The phone can't take more than 7, 8 calls. People keep calling. They want to talk to Veronica.
Can I just address those who have already called?
Go ahead and do that. Take 1 minute and do that, sis.
Yes, just 1 minute. So in terms of who I was saying to go to hell, I will say it again 100 times. To those who know very well how evil Zoe has been, who have been part of the meetings and they have done nothing. So those are the ones I'm saying to go to hell, not the whole Tuzon, but not everyone. But those people who knew Zoe had evil plans and they still wanted me to do. I mean, what do they expect? Can you imagine my mother's corpse going there? Do you know how they would have done to her? I cannot even imagine, So also we wanted to stop in Tuzon, but we just couldn't because of what the security escort said. And I believe them because we've been watching your show. We've been hearing all the things, but we still give them the benefit of the doubt. And that decision was made in the last minute. And look at what they did. Look at what they tried to do to confiscate the casket. So obviously the intelligence was correct. and I'm happy we didn't stop. So I'm not talking to the entire coronation. In fact, in terms of the coronation, we really want to have something in the near future because, all those people who passed away. So part of the reburial are our plans in terms of the reburial committee that we have put forth when this thing with my dad first came up. You know how the Tolbas had theirs with the 13 who were executed? We wanted to have ours with the 64 who were executed because they were executed on the same day. And our plans were rejected. So it's just going to have to be part two. So we really want to have a gathering of all Grangidians, especially those who feel they have nowhere to go, who have nothing to remember them, to say that they sacrificed themselves, So our father sacrificed ourselves because he could have left, but he didn't because of them. And they too could have left and they didn't because of him. So we're all one and we all need healing. We know we got our healing and they need to get theirs too. So
let's go.
another
Let
thing,
listen to let us hear from Zor Glaze,
okay,
SM Gali, and then another caller here. Then we're going to conclude with you,
okay.
Mommy. Let's go to Alfonso Glaze.
First, I guess the phone got disconnected the first time.
Yeah, something happened. The phone went.
Right. So, like I was saying, good evening, Mommy. It's been a long time. Many years have passed. First of all, my condolences for the passing of the Omar. And like I said earlier, it is unfortunate that she painted the whole town of Tucson with a broad brush. Tucson is made up of 4 sections. We have the Wau, they have the Swau, they have the Sengu, and they have the Bau. Okay. The issue with Mommy and Zoe, that's a family problem. So I don't think to come on here and tell the whole village, the town of Tucson to go to hell, it is very, very unfortunate.
I keep telling you, it's those who I was referring to, who was part of Zoe's plan. It's not the entire town.
Listen to her now. What she said. She said it's not the whole entire town. It's the people who are with Zoe and Zoe plan.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. And then my second statement, Prince, and I thank you so much for giving me this opportunity because there's been lots of rumors circling around about how William Gedeh was implicated into the assassination of Doe. I want to say it today emphatically, Prince. William Gedeh has nothing to do with it. He has nothing to do with it. We all suffer the whole death. And I don't see.
Are you sure about that?
How people believe.
William Gedeh's story will come out. I got the guy who wrote a piece. How William Gedeh was actually involved in the process. It will come out. But let's speak to this topic here.
He admitted to us.
That's another topic there. That's another thing. The guy who wrote that article, I'll bring the man on my show here, and the man will explain what he meant in his book or in wherever he wrote. So go ahead, brother.
Thank you. No, that's it, friends. Pretty much. Mommy, have a good day. Tell Jen I say hello, and I hope you get better soon.
Thank you very much. I go to SM Gali.
I'm not passing on your message.
Okay, Mr. Tobo, thank you. Once again, I will tell my sister today that I'm a Dodi from Pola Bison. My grand-auntie Manzua was married to a boy in my grandfather.
Man, can you talk to the issue, please? We gotta go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Look, I gotta, first of all, say have my sympathy, and this is not our fight. But after all this stuff, it is the time for us to make peace. But whatsoever step that you took, is necessary. And as the people been saying, that we are here supporting you, but not to continue the fight, but also to see reason to make peace among ourselves. Let us think about reconciliation, how we will get back together. So that's why I'm here today to speak with you as a Dodi from Pona Bison District.
Thank you very much. A Dodi from Pona Bison District want to reconcile with the people. 8096. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? 8096. 8096. The last caller, 8096. The first 3 number is 812. The last 4 number is 8096. We don't blow horn yet. Airplane and blow horn. We're gonna go. You on the line? Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? I don't think they are serious. So you listen to what everybody said, and thanks for coming and accepting our invitation here to have this show to clear the air and talk to your people, tell your people things and all that. Jalu Double, you are the hour man, so I will bring you on here. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jari. Use 1 minute, please.
Sammy?
Who caller? You got 1 minute to go ahead. Double.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon from my end, Mommy.
Good afternoon.
My name is Ozawu Dobo. I said, I hear from you. The rest of your sibling, for standing your ground, okay, or went there for a purpose, and the purpose for which you went to Liberia, it was accomplished, okay. My only appeal to you now is that, the compound, of your parents is where they were buried, okay, and before the burial took place, that place it was a forest, okay, the whole compound. Alright, so since your parents, they have been buried in a compound, and now that you have gone back, I want you to see reason in the future that their grave should not be covered, with a lot of bushes, and what have you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Double. He don't want that grave to be covered in bush, so
it will not. It will not.
you
There was no bodies there before. So obviously,
let's go to Teresa Joe.
Thank
Teresa,
you.
go ahead. Teresa Joe, please go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Double, for allowing me in. And Mommy, I just want to say thank you for everything. Thank you for being your mom's voice, and thank you for doing your mom wishes and bury her. And I would just want to say, think about those that died with your father that day.
Exactly.
Let's have a complete reconciliation, since the family are still grieving. Let's pray keep those family in your memory, and continue to pray for them. Continue to pray for their family. Continue to pray for their children, and all of that. And one advice I want to leave with you is, since your sibling, right now I know it's hard, but I know you will make it right. You will be able to be the peacemaker. I want you to let God give you the knowledge, the wisdom, to be able to bring everybody under one umbrella. So I'm appealing to you. I know it will not be now because you're still grieving, but I want you to find it in your heart so all your siblings can come together as one.
Thank you.
You be the peacemaker, please. Yeah?
Thank you. Somebody wanted to know where they texted me. They want to know what was in Zoma. Well, we'll have another show. Mommy will tell what was in Zoma on a later time when she come back on Facebook. And we're going to know what was in Zoma. But let her give our sister here the last. I'm not going to accept after Sophie guy. Sophie, go ahead.
Hello, my beautiful sister and daughter. How you doing, Mama?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, have my sympathy. But wait small, I just want to make Mommy last. Mommy will not speak crying out today.
Okay, let's try.
I won't, but
What?
Mommy lost in that one. Go ahead. We gotta go.
Yeah,
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, Mama. I know. I get it. Fit that they remaining your phone. That's your dad remaining, because when Prince Johnson said that he was not around, he was out of the country. Wasn't around. He didn't even know anything about your father and body, or whether they burn it or any other thing. So, I know I get a feel that our hero is the one that we carry back home. So that's what I want to say, Mama. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Go
we
ahead.
had about 27 to 30 EPS people there at the same time, and they contested. They confirmed it.
EPS people
were there. They were rejoicing.
And we were rejoicing. And then we don't want the names. Well, we'll talk to them. The caller here again, 8170. Caller, where you calling from? What's your name?
Yeah, thank you, praise. My name is Hazen. I'm calling from Connecticut.
Go ahead. You got 1 minute.
All those are saying my people do DNA. Then they go do DNA for the men are brought DNA. Then they go do DNA. Then you say go do DNA. Then everyone that do DNA, then go talk about DNA for them. My people go do DNA.
Thank you, Papa. Yeah, man. Thank you.
So the caller here, you say your name Hemsing?
Yes, sir.
And say one everybody who say Mamie never to DNA go do DNA with it. When they do DNA like bro, will not be easy.
Yeah.
Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is.
Go ahead, caller. Caller.
Yeah, Papi Bowie, I'm coming from Spain.
Papi Bowie, go ahead. You got 30 seconds. Go ahead.
My deeper condolences to the Dole family. Mammy, you have to be very, very careful, I will tell you. Don't make amends with that Zoe Pennerman, okay? Because if he was a kind of good guy, since 35 years, since
He is
35
evil.
years, he would have run for office when Triana was trying to run for senator when he was representative. You understand? So, what I would tell you, be in your God, and he's evil, yeah. I would say, all right? So I'm very sorry. That God bless you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. I
That's Papi
appreciate
Bowie
that.
from all the way
No
Spain. That's
patience.
Stuart Bowie picking. Okay, so let's go ahead,
Okay,
Mamie.
how?
Let me give you the
Thank
chance
you.
to close now. We're not accepting calls again, ladies and gentlemen. The phone is
Okay.
off. And I took the wire. Let me unblock the wire. It's not there, so we're not accepting call again. If you're watching us, we'll do
Thank you
another
so
show.
much.
Maybe we'll take
Thank
Mamie
you.
now and bring her here again to just have a therapy time. Those who want Mamie to make peace with Zoe, you tell Zoe to make peace with Mamie. Go ahead, Mamie.
It will never happen.
Go ahead.
Can I just say Zoe Penno is finished? I told Zoe Penno to wait until the burial. Do you guys know that on the day that I was burying my parents, he issued a writ of summons for me at the hotel I was staying in? He went there with a bunch of gunmen. He went there with, I don't know,
Was he there in
tribalists
person or
with
he sent people?
No, of course. He sent his flunkies to do it. So that means whilst we were there, he went to the court, got a writ of summons for me for me to be arrested. On the same day, I'm burying my parents, and he was there with people with guns. He was there with people with traditional people throwing dust. I don't know. The dust is supposed to make me appear if I wasn't there. I have no clue, but I don't deal with that nonsense. And that's what he did. So why on earth would I mean this guy did everything. He is mad. Zoe is finished. So now that I've buried my parents, I can officially say, Zoe, you are finished. Just how I said to you that you would never ever enter the burial place, and you didn't. You tried to go to the funeral, but look what happened to you. You knew what happened to you. You had to turn around and go back with all your cars of 40 people. We stood our ground, and God honored my word, you know? So let me tell you who Zoe is spiritually whilst we're praying. Zoe is a vulture. He sucks in human flesh and blood. I'm serious. This is what he does. And that's what he wanted to do with my father's remains, my mother's remains especially. So people are saying in terms of jobs, I'm not looking for jobs in Liberia. You know, I'm not looking for jobs. You can quote me on that. If I was, I would be kissing asses. And I tell people the truth, whether they like it or not. I'm not here to offend people. But let me tell you what they do. They tell you, you should obey us. Regardless if I'm the devil, regardless if I want your best interest, you should obey us. And you can never tell me to obey you blanket like that. It just doesn't work. He went through everyone. He went through the president. I mean, he pulled his trump card. Everything he did, he really, really manipulated the man because I know President Baraka was really after reconciliation. That was his whole agenda. And he was sincere, and I believe he is sincere. He did everything possible for us. So it makes no sense for him to say, but I thought that was what you wanted. And that was never what I wanted because I got summoned twice in the same day. That doesn't happen. That's not normal. And Zoe has been the key architect behind all this falafel. So honestly, Zoe can go to hell. Zoe is finished. And anyone who agrees with Zoe, they can join him too. I'm not here. I don't get my powers from outside. I get my powers from within. So the more you're spewing stuff against me, negativity, I really don't care. I wished I cared, but I don't. If anything, it's funny. It's what I see it, you know? And I stick with my guns. Those siblings who my mother raised, who denounced her, who insult her, you are no longer within that protection. So I need your DNA too. I still need DNA from siblings if you want to be siblings. And I'm the head. I'm the administrator of my father's estate. You know, I was given his flag. Another thing, Zoe really, really wanted the flag to be handed over to him. Do you know in the book of condolences, he came out of nowhere, him and his crew, and they had orchestrated for him to sit at the end. And everyone was going to him, and he would stand up as if he was the heir of the family. I had to speak to protocol, and I said to protocol, who invited this guy? Did you know he was coming? And they said, no, we didn't know. Okay, so since now he is here, we don't want to disrespect our parents' coffins. Everyone that's coming, I'm the head of this family. People need to come to me to greet me first, and then they can work the way down. If you don't do that, me and my siblings are out. That's how Zoe sat his witchcraft ass down, excuse my language, and then they started coming to me as the head to go to him. You know, it was because of him. My mother did not have her picture there with the book of condolence because we had already talked about that with protocol. And the following event, she wasn't even mentioned. And I had to say to them, if you guys do not keep doing this, something has to change. I cannot tolerate that, you know, it's not acceptable. I know the burial would be not done simultaneously. The president already explained it, and it makes perfect sense. We have to do his first because of the 21 gun salute. Everything makes sense. But then surely thereafter, it would be her. So you cannot have both caskets and you're not including her in the program. Because at the meeting with the president, Zoe kept harping on that. She shouldn't be there. She should be held back. She should have an autopsy. She should do this. She should do that, you know? I mean, honestly, his mother's like a walking corpse. She should have if he really wants an autopsy, let him go do his mom. She already looks dead anyway. This is a family business. Why do people feel it is the right to tell me who I should include and who I should not? You know, let me say something. It is morally unjust to force someone into reconciliation with a person they believe is responsible for the death of a loved one. Do they know that? So let me tell you what it is. Reconciliation by definition must be voluntary. It must be mutual, and it must be built on trust, acknowledgement, and repentance. You know, in this case, none of the above has happened. I have been single-handedly held responsible for reconciling with this demon, and it's not fair. And I will not accept that. I did not accept that yesterday. I do not accept that today, and I do not accept that tomorrow. You know, so I've been asked always reconcile with someone who has not been held. Zoe does not take accountability. For example, my mother was placed on prisoner's bench a couple years, well, probably like 2010 or so. And she called out to him for help. And he laughed at her. It was the chief justice himself had to get someone quickly, because he was ill at that time, to come and release her. And it was trumped up charges. So he has not publicly or privately responded to anything I've said, you know, but yet I'm the one who's been pressured to concede. I'm telling you, amigos, no can do, and I would never accept it. This is a dangerous moral imbalance. I'm bereaved, and I've been told to move on while the accused face no scrutiny. This is not reconciliation. This is silencing, you know, and it has a psychological harm. You are suppressing my grief and my trauma. You are minimizing my pain. So no, it cannot work, and it will not work. And I really am pleading to everyone, people should stop saying that, because the minute you tell me about reconciliation with someone as inhumane as Zoe, I completely switch off. I don't even listen to anything you say. So, but I know I've ranted a bit. I just really want to finish that just by just really say thank you to everyone. You know, so many people have been a part of this. So many people have stood by us. So many people have supported us, you know. I need to commend again President Boyka, his government, especially Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mrs. Sarah Yanti. She has been exceptional. The Reburial Committee, they've worked really, really hard. The fundraising committee, you know, all those members who were part of the fundraising people in America, in the diaspora, and the individuals in the GGA, and I tell them thank you from my whole heart. And Grand Gedeh as a whole, we definitely need to have a memorial for all of our fallen soldiers, especially those on that day where they were massacred. They should have been part of this reburial, but it was just rejected. Unfortunately, it should not have been rejected, you know. And also, I'd like to thank special people. I don't want to say all of the names because I know there's so many of you guys, but those that spring up to my heads, you know, Alicia, she has been amazing. Angeline Peters is like a sister. She is strong. She is a strong woman. And she has been through something that I've been through. So she always tell me, speak up for your mom, speak up for your mom. And of course, sis Mommy Ta, I want to say thank you. Sis Glandis, thank you so much for putting things into perspective because people forgot their places. Of course, Answer Gay, I know he's going to preach to me about, but thank you. Prince Zagay. Oh, of course, you, Prince Dover. What can I say? You give my mom the platform when no one else did. You caused her voice to be heard. It's because of you, people are hearing her from herself. And I really appreciate that. And of course, Charlotte Roberts, the first time I watched her clip, I was sent to by sis Mommy Evangeline Ta. And that lady was so passionate about my mom. She was so, so passionate. And I really appreciate everything you've done for me, Charlotte. I know we're going to have a chat. It's just I've been so busy, but I definitely will call you. And of course, my sister in Japan, Zagba, I thank you so, so, so much. Teresa Arnold, thank you. I know there's so many people I've forgotten. I'm gonna deactivate my Facebook page. So please, if I've forgotten to and I need to have your number, please send it to me. And I really appreciate everything. Thank you, Prince. God bless you. And apparently, are you going to run for senator or something? Please, can you confirm? So yeah, but most importantly, I want to thank my father, Samuel Kanye Doe, my mom. My dad was the first indigenous president. If it wasn't for him, none of the presidents from indigenous backgrounds would have been here where they are today. He believed that government was continuity. He did not fire civil servants. He did so much. He had an inclusive government. No more than 3 or 4 Crown people were in his government during that 10 years, So I just want to thank everyone. I want to thank everyone who has been a part of this. It is finished. It is done. I can just praise the Lord and see what my next mission is. And I don't see myself getting involved in any.
She said, our sister said, I mean, she said you should make sure you put your parents, especially your mom, you do a book. And you going to put a book out there for the old man?
She wrote she said a whole bunch of stuff. My mom recorded a whole bunch of, I've got like 2 phones full of her messages. At some point, maybe she knew she was going. I started taking a lot of recordings for her. She has so much to say, especially her meetings with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. She had a lot to say about her. They were like really nemesis. She used to call her master murderer. They just really didn't like each other. And who really likes her, to be fair? What I don't understand, people are just on my case about so many things, But why aren't people on Ellen Johnson's case? She's the one who masterminded the war. She funded the war. She enabled the butchering of people in Liberia, slaughter, rape, displacements of hundreds of thousands of people. She was not just a bystander to Liberia's destruction. She was a key architect. Come on, people. You guys are internet sleuths. You guys need to see what she did. Let me tell you where to start. Start from 1980. Ellen gave the PRC a hit list. Those people who were executed, my father didn't know most of them. Some of the PRC didn't know most of them. But she was doing, let me tell you something. This is the conversation she used to have with a friend, Mr. Richard Talbot, who is not late. It's a shame because he wasn't here to see the Talbot's memorial, which was beautiful. But he used to say to her, Mrs. Doe, this woman just doesn't hate you. She hates us. She promised us in America in the she said the year, I think 78 or 79, that she promised to eliminate all the Talbots. She didn't care how long it took her, but she was going to do that. So this woman, she is behind orchestrating things. She's like a black widow, going out with this person, manipulating this person, causing brothers to fight against brothers. Sowing seeds of discord and hatred. That's what she did. And she is still alive, So let me tell you about her. She promised to rebuild Liberia in 3 days. 18 years later, Liberia is worse than it ever been. I won't even get started about the currency. Can you imagine the currency going from 1 to 1 to, I don't know, 1 to 150 or something? And also, you remember, exactly. So for 12 years, Sirleaf allocated about $12 million annually towards renovating the executive mansion that she said that she tear down. So now like a total of $144 million within 12 years, give or take 144, 145. And the mansion is still in dire straits. I think they've completed a couple of floors, but it's not done. It's riddled with delays and suspicions. There's no, where did the money go? There's no transparency. There's no accountability. Just another black hole of public funds, Yet she accused Doe of nepotism. And then she did far worse. Which one of Doe's children was ever minister? What? Maybe I was minister of kindergarten and Samuel was probably minister of nursery. That's all. But none of his close relatives, even those who were crowned, were not even related to him. But yet he was accused of nepotism. But she placed her own children in some of the highest and most sensitive positions in the country. Robert was senior advisor and head of NOCAL, one was deputy governor of central bank. Charles Salute, I mean, he got along with my mom. He was nice. And the other one was head of national security.
We're going to get into that. We're going to get into Ellen
So
in this. We just try to do this thing, and thank you very
you
much.
guys need to.
We gotta call you back.
You guys need to.
Don't deactivate that Facebook page. We're gonna call you back.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
we're gonna do a lot of lecturing. We have a forum where we're gonna invite a lot of people on here, and we get discuss Liberia.
I just want to say something. When we talk about real reconciliation, and I listened and I read something that Senator Amara Connor said, rightly stated. Let me just paraphrase where he says, the government has addressed the reburial of the elite level reconciliation, which is us and the Talbots, and we are thankful for that and we're grateful. But real healing goes much further, right? You have to go inter-community relationships. You have to go into grassroots engagement. You cannot overlook the ordinary families who are still haunted by violence. So true reconciliation demands remembrance and transformation. And I completely agree. I mean, one of my favorite saying is forgiveness is not forgetting. We're not trying to forget, but we're trying to forgive because you have to forgive. You cannot. I have a lot of friends. I'm so close to the top. I spoke to him the other day to apologize why I wasn't there and to apologize for those who went there on behalf of us, which really wasn't on behalf of us. We just, what can he say? So I just want to say something. We need to look at Ellen. She is sitting unscathed. She is laughing at us. She's never apologized for her role. Anything, she minimizes her role. No victims were compensated. No perpetrators from her inner circle were held accountable. She got the Nobel Prize, not for peace, but for political convenience. She financed the war. Heck, my auntie was one of those soldiers up, and she was one of the few who survived. She said during the war, they saw Ellen, with a pot of fire on her head in uniforms, and the people were just like ants following her. They were chanting something. She is truly, truly evil. She handpicked and delivered Liberia to disaster. She did so many evil things, and no one. Not only what I want from her is the acknowledgement. I'm not saying my father was innocent, but half the things. Let me tell you some of the things that she did. That 13 people, it was Ellen hit list that she promised to get rid of. Yeah. And then when my father didn't agree, they threatened him with execution, And then she went behind their backs and she spoke to the PRC people. This is when my father had gone to Ethiopia. And she got them to kill the guy, A.B. Talbot, who was a brilliant guy, who was loved because he was nice to everyone. Look, let me tell you the people the soldiers were really after. They were really after those people who gave the permission for the Rice riot shooting because they felt they were shooting their own people and they refused. So those people who were signing the death warrants, or the people who were getting executed pretty much every week, those were the people they were after. Those people on the list, they didn't even know them. And I really wished my father had addressed that. You understand? I really wished that because he became close with the Talbots, with Mrs. Victoria Talbot. Remember, he did this whole press conference when they first took over, that anyone who was holding on to the Talbots' businesses or finances, they'll be prosecuted. That's how a lot of things were turned over back to the family. This is what he did. And that's what President Charles Taylor was going to do for my mom. He told her to make a list of all her husband's properties. So she did so many things between brothers and friends. Even, let me tell you this thing that most people don't know. Do you know that General Kuyungba, do you know that he was killed by his people that he was with and handed over? And then they took the blame. They took the responsibility as if it's something good, which that's one of the things I didn't like about my father. I love him, but let's truth be told. If you know you didn't kill President Talbot, why did you take that responsibility and that curse upon you? If you know that the government did not actually capture Kuyungba, because I remember seeing it on TV, and I remember two of his butlers rejoicing that they had shot him. And I'm thinking, you're butlers. And I went to ask my father, how come these two people are in military uniforms? They're your butlers. What are they doing there? He said, hey, man, you can go sit down, man. You can ask people plenty of questions. Go sit down. They used to call me question box. You can ask so many people questions. Go sit down. And all those things. He should have set the record straight on so many things that Ellen very conveniently put upon his head, and he never rejected it. So that's why I speak now, because my father used to say, "Oh, and God will," what he said, what he used to say, God will speak for him. God knows his heart. You are a politician. You have to speak for yourself. So that's the reason I speak for myself. And what I do know, I speak for him. So many things went on that Ellen played her hand craftily like a black widow behind the scenes, and she's never been held accountable. Where's Liberia today?
We are down the
Nowhere.
slope. Thank you very much. We're going to talk about
Exactly.
that. We will have a conversation
Okay.
on that. Thanks to all those who are watching out
Yeah.
there, the Facebook, YouTube, and all that, or social media. And thanks for those of you who share the show also and came on the show and listened to Mamie Do. And not everything she said you agree
Thank you
with,
so
but
much.
just let be respectful. And then we can have a conversation on the Liberia. You know, we're gonna heal with these things when we express
Yeah.
these things, pull these things out, then we're gonna heal. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for tonight. We're gonna call the show out and we're gonna go. And I hope those who not watch the show, those who are not here, you can watch the show later on, and then you get the information she put out here tonight, and the whole Joseph boycott the Unity Party. She praised the Unity Party's government. She praised a lot of people in the government, and she did a good job. But tonight we can cut in a little bit of the interview and discuss it tonight. So we'll be on here tonight by 9 p.m. tonight, my time, Eastern Standard Time, and the 8 p.m. Central Time. We can come out here tonight again and then talk about it. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, and God bless everybody. The new week starts and today. So those who ain't go to church next week, and let God bless everybody. Thank you, and have a wonderful God bless day.